Hi, this is Mike Mercier with Screen Education, and I will be doing the opening talk for the virtual conference that C3 Ohio and Lakota schools are putting on starting in October. And I wanted to just take a moment to share with you a bit about my background and then to sort of preface the talk that I'll be giving, just so you have some context for where I'm coming from and what I'll be doing. Um, I spent a decade as a textbook editor in the college textbook industry. I was an editor and a publisher of economics and finance textbooks, and then I spent about a decade in doing market research. And it was about 4.5 years ago that I started doing research on tech addiction. And the reason I got into this issue is that I had a real problem with my own smartphone. So I struggled for about 4.5 years to try to control it and curb my use of it, and I was impossible. So I finally decided, it was actually 6 years ago, in August, it was 2014, that I decided I'm just going to go to Verizon and get a flip phone and see how it goes. So I did that. And I went through physical withdrawal for 3 to 4 weeks. It was really like a drug, like withdrawing from a drug. But once I got through that, everything was fine. And then 3 years later, about 3 years ago, I decided I needed to get off social media, off of Facebook. And I knew if I just closed down the account, I'd open it up within a couple of hours. So um, I deconstructed my profile. That's the only way I knew I could do it. So I basically unfriended all my friends, unjoined all my groups. And I wasn't rude about it. I sent all the friends emails explaining what I was doing. But what was interesting is about a third of my friends said, "Wow, you're strong. I wish I could do that too." Um, so anyhow, because of my experience, I was really interested in this issue, and it was about 4.5 years ago in 2016 that I started doing research on it just independently. And I did research with kids for about 3 years, 3.5 years, and then about a year and a half ago, I started to expand to adults. And I did a couple of studies with college students. I was hired to do a national survey of millennials, and then I did 3 national surveys of adults and the impact of tech addiction on the workplace. And it's given me a real pan-generational perspective on the problem. And I've pretty much found that adults and kids are in the same boat. So um, so in doing research on tech addiction, it naturally leads you to research, sort of pivot in research related areas. So, for example, social media. Social media is one of the big addictive platforms, right? So I necessarily had to get into it, and I've done a bit of research with kids on social media, on the issue of social media, and that's forming the basis of my talk. Um, the first thing I'm going to do in the talk is just lay out a framework for tech addiction that I've developed, so you can understand like the mechanisms of it, and then I'm going to transition into social media, which is one of the addictive technologies, and talk about the problems that it causes. And then what I want to do is get into a very particular aspect of social media, which is what is it about social media that makes it so easy for really anyone, that includes kids and adults, to cross a line and behave in a way that they know they probably shouldn't, right? To be nasty to other people, to bully them, to get into arguments, to be conflictual, to be toxic, right? And the research I've done has really uncovered some interesting characteristics of social media that I think most people probably aren't conscious of, but these characteristics are allowing them to cross this line. And once I lay out those characteristics, then I'm going to make some suggestions on how both parents and schools can mitigate the problem by dealing with those aspects of social media that I discuss. So that's the talk, and I will be between now and October 1st. If I want to say, if anyone has any questions, or you want to comments or suggestions, or you want to just discuss an issue, feel free to email me. It's michael.mercier, Mercier, at screeneducation.org. and I look forward to seeing you on October 1st. Thank you.